Hello, I'm Kimberly, and welcome to the weekend edition of the Native News Update. It's Friday, December 16th, and many of the stories you hear here can be found at IndianCountryNews.com. And here's the news for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. The Bad River Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa is calling for an independent economic study of a proposed iron ore mine in their ceded territory of northern Wisconsin. North Star Economics released a report in April that touted 700 permanent mining jobs and 3,000 temporary construction jobs from a proposed iron ore mine in the Pinocchio Range. Trouble with that, says Bad River attorney Glenn Stoddard, is Gogebic taconite paid for the study. So Bad River Tribal Chairman Mike Wiggins presented a letter to Governor Walker at the Governor's Northern Economic Summit in Minocqua on December 13th. Wiggins says his letter calls it foolhardy to base economic numbers on the North Star study, ignoring environmental concerns. Stoddard says it also ignores jobs that would be threatened by a massive open pit mine inland from Lake Superior. Meanwhile, he says whoever does the independent study must have no vested interest in its outcome and shouldn't be appointed by the Walker administration, which favors the mine. Federal officials are planning a summit in South Dakota in the wake of allegations that the state has violated federal law by removing too many American Indian children from their homes and placing them in foster care with non-Indian families. Nedra Darling, a spokeswoman for the Interior Department's Office of Indian Affairs, told the Associated Press that the agency has created a committee to plan the summit, the dates of which has yet to be set. The summit is in response to a national radio series in October that said the state routinely broke the Indian Child Welfare Act and disrupted the lives of hundreds of Native American families each year. Federal law requires that Native American children removed from their homes be placed with relatives or put in foster care with other Native American families, except in unusual circumstances. The three-part NPR report said 90% of Native American children removed from their homes in South Dakota each year are sent to foster care in non-Indian homes or group homes. It reported that Native American children are placed in South Dakota's foster care system at a disproportionate rate because only 15% of its state's children population is Native American, yet half of the children in foster care are Native American. The State Department of Game and Fish has determined that the remains of a bald eagle discovered by a hiker has been taken legally for Native American ritual. The department says the person who buried the eagle in a paper bag in Tucson, Arizona in November had a federal permit to possess the dead bird. The eagle was obtained from a respiratory in Colorado and provides Native Americans with dead gold and bald eagles for religious and cultural purposes. Game and Fish officials have returned the eagle to a Native American representative for reburial in accord with tribal custom. The U.S. Department said inadequate supervision and training has led Seattle police officers to too quickly resort to the use of weapons like batons and flashlights and to escalate confrontations even when arresting people for minor offenses. The department launched an investigation last spring following the fatal shooting of a homeless Native American woodcarver and other reported uses of force against minority suspects. The probe was aimed at determining whether Seattle police have a pattern or practice of violating civil rights or discriminatory policing, and if so, what they should do to improve. Federal investigators said they found Seattle police have engaged in excessive force that violated federal law and the Constitution. The Department of Justice is currently conducting 20 such investigations of police departments across the country, and the use of force is a prominent issue in most of them. The American Civil Liberties Union of Washington and 34 other community groups called for the inquiry in Seattle after Seattle officer Ian Burke shot and killed woodcarver John T. Williams in 2010. For more than 150 years, the Chinook Nation has struggled to obtain official recognition from the federal government. Exhausting many of their options, the Chinook have turned to a new tool, an online petition. Tribal leaders are confident they have enough support to pressure lawmakers for action. Pacific County's former Congressman, U.S. Representative Brian Baird, championed their cause. When he left Congress, he was replaced by Representative Jamie Herrera Butler. Her spokesman said the Congresswoman would be willing to organize a meeting to discuss the issue. The Chinook's website allows people to sign a petition to lawmakers and send email messages asking them to support the Chinook Nation's goal of receiving federal recognition. Kate Elliott, a counselor for the tribe, said the federal government's stance of not officially recognizing the tribal government is insulting. Because the Chinook were instrumental in helping Lewis and Clark when the two reached the Columbia Basin, it has been kind of painful marking both bicentennial events for the Lewis and Clark expedition in 2005 and the city of Astoria in 2011 without having that official recognition. The Chinook's petition will be sent to senators, congressional representatives, and the president. For more information, you can visit petition.congress.com/5702//restoration-Chinook-Indian-Nation. On December 15th, a council representing the majority of New Mexico's Native American tribes endorsed President Barack Obama's re-election bid, saying the president has kept his promises to tribal communities. The endorsement by the All-Indian Pueblo Council was presented to Obama campaign manager Jim Messina at a special ceremony on the Sandia Pueblo. It came a few weeks after the White House hosted its third summit with tribal leaders, where Obama told them, "You have a president that's got your back." While the endorsement of a Democrat is not surprising, the vote of support came nearly a year before the 2012 presidential elections. Campaign officials attributed the early vote of confidence to its early and aggressive grassroots outreach to different ethnic groups. The Tulalip tribes are among several tribes lobbying the Navy to build its next fleet of tugboats in the Northwest. According to the Tulalip tribes, the J.M. Martinak Shipbuilding Corp. In Tacoma, Washington employs about 100 shipbuilders, has a journeyman program for American Indians, and employs 30% of its workforce from various tribes. Additionally, if the shipyard gets the contract for the new tugs, it plans to build the first battery-powered tug in the Navy's fleet, which would help to meet President Obama's directive to cut use of fossil fuels by the Navy's fleet at least 50% by 2020. The shipyard names its boats after Indian tribes, and if it wins the contracts, plans to lobby the Navy to name the next boat the Tulalip. Many people consider the Colorado Plateau and the Four Corners region sacred, but what does sacred mean? The National Park Service recently released a short educational documentary entitled On Common Ground in an attempt to answer this question. The film's purpose is to increase the understanding and respect for not only the land we share, but for the cultures and the people who consider the land sacred. The film features several Native Americans from different clans, such as Hopi, Paiute, and White Mesa Ute, who discuss the spiritual connection they feel with the land. Loretta Damon was recently named the 2011 Native American Woman of the Year from the Phoenix Indian Center and the Arizona State University Native American Alumnus of the Year. Damon, program advisor at Mesa Community College's American Indian Center, received awards for her commitment to the American Indian community and students. Being the first in her family to attend college, Damon earned a bachelor's degree from Phoenix College in 1975 and a master's of education in 1982 from Arizona State University. Her first job after receiving her bachelor's degree was at Fees Junior High School in Tempe, Arizona, where she worked with at-risk students. For 28 years, Damon has worked within the Maricopa County Community College District mentoring and helped Native students succeed in college. And that's another roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. I'd like to thank you for joining me and have a grand day.